Okay. Now we're onto the topic with the Apple self-repair kit.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo brought up as soon as I got here. I actually hadn't seen any of these videos. I see this one was posted May 4th, and I know Quinn posted one, I think, on the 6th. May 6th. So everybody's ordering this repair kit, and, it just became available to do. This right to repair conversation has been enormous, and it's gathered all types of steam and support. And Apple themselves responded by launching their own self-repair program designed to allow users to repair iPhone 12s, 13s, SEs. They give you the manuals, tools, and replacement parts, which are directly sourced from Apple, so they're official parts. And then they'll send you a kit. And the kit is the part that really caught Mo's attention because it's enormous. Mm-hmm. It's 2 giant Pelican cases filled with a variety of really purpose-built machines that serve only a singular purpose, which is to manage a repair, a specific set of repairs on iPhones. Get the screen off, replace the screen, replace the battery, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw it and you were like, what the hell is this?
I couldn't believe it.
You saw it and you were irate.
Yeah, I was.
You remind me of Willie Doo for a second.
Yeah. It was crazy. I couldn't believe how big it was.
Yeah. So it's an enormous set of kit.
Okay.
And I realized that, your reaction was shock to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. And you thought to yourself, who the hell is going to do this? Speaking for yourself.
Yeah. I said in the previous, when we covered this the first time, that I'm probably not the guy for this. Mm-hmm. Now seeing it, I'm definitely not the guy.
Okay, so you're not the guy.
Yeah.
You're not the guy for it.
It comes with a hefty manual as well.
Hefty manual, hefty components, 2 giant Pelican cases, purpose-built machinery. Let me just speak from my point of view. Mm-hmm. It's only one I got. I completely understand what you're saying.
Right.
And I think the average iPhone user who busts their screen, this is totally
nutty.
This is not for you.
Yeah.
This is not really what this is about. Apple was receiving a lot of pressure to do something. And I don't doubt that this is the equipment they would use in their operation.
Right.
Now, from my perspective, from a guy who, before I was on YouTube, I actually had a small Apple repair business. Right at the beginning of iPhones, right around the time of iPods, mostly around MacBooks, which at one time were called PowerBooks. I would have loved something like this.
Well, this huge, right? Or this purpose built.
Because there was, I know you're looking at this saying this is crazy, but I probably opened up, I don't know, 100 mobile devices,
right?
Maybe more, probably more. They're finicky. Everything is so stuck, and there's adhesives, and you're applying pressure to fragile components using spudgers and small guitar pick type. You're trying to break seals and apply just the right amount of pressure. It takes you 15 of these things before you know all the nuance of doing that in the absence of having purpose-built equipment for the task. And so I think a lot of people who are upset here are not probably the group that would ever engage with something like this, and who may not have an accurate picture of how frustrating the process is of getting inside of a device like an iPhone. Now, this is obviously, from a scale perspective, this is obviously far more complex compared to something you could buy off iFixit and follow their manuals. But what ends up happening is you end up using things like heat guns and rubbing alcohol, and you use other methods for disengaging certain components because you don't have these things, and you would never buy these things because you're not going to do enough repairs to justify it. But I highly doubt that those devices are going to work better than Apple's own equipment, which is purpose-built. Like the one to remove the screen, you can see that that's all it does.
Right.
And you can see the heating element and the amount of time and the timer. It becomes relatively foolproof, although the guy on Mac Rumors screwed it up because he had a screen protector on his display.
Yeah.
So, like, you're going to still need to know certain things, read certain things, but it is targeted at an individual who has the patience for something like this, which is pretty tedious miniature work if you're into it. Now, the other thing I should mention is that there's a weird process at the end where you need to verify the repair with Apple.
Yes. You need to call it in, essentially.
You need to call it in, and then they talk you through checking your serial, making sure everything's authentic. This is going to have some sort of implications for aftermarket components. And I wonder about, I haven't been in the game in so long that I wonder about what's happening with that, because now you have to kind of pay whatever price Apple puts on these components for these repairs. And in the case of the repair kit that you get, it's understandably a hefty cost if you don't return it. It's like $1,300.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think it might not be a thing that Apple wanted to do. I mean, they didn't do it voluntarily. There was a lot of pressure prior.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like, fine, here's the stuff we use.
Right.
You go do it if you want. It might look like that to the outside. It might seem like that. But I really don't know what else they would do. I really don't. Like, they're going to send you strictly a bunch of guitar picks and tell you to use a heat gun? And then you're going to heat up one section too much and you're going to wreck this or that?
I think it needs to be as comprehensive as it can be and user-friendly. Even though it's really in-depth, at least there is all these solutions to solve every single little problem.
Maybe the issue here is around disclaimers and around communication prior to a person engaging in their own repair, to just make sure that the individual that's ordering up this repair,
it's like, are you sure you want this?
Understand. And maybe that does exist, by the way. Maybe you check a bunch of boxes. It's like, I get it. Do it at your own risk, whatever. I think it's like a lot of things in life where there's experts in this. And more often than not, you're better off to find the expert. You might be an inquisitive type and you could become an expert yourself. That does happen, but it's just not going to be the majority. For the majority of people to do a one-off, you're going to be better off to just have it done.
Yeah.
Because of the potential for problems to arise. But I just had to say, just to see the purpose-built machinery, it kind of turns me on a bit.
Right.
Because I just hassled through so many of these things in the past, but just twisting and peeling and applying only the right amount of pressure. And I busted stuff. Like I would go, oh, that display's no good. I got to reach for another one. And you would just be wasting components because this stuff didn't exist to the general public at all.
No.
And it wouldn't even come up on eBay because Apple's building it just for them in some cases. Or maybe factories in China and whatnot would have this stuff as well. But again, I was doing this task over a decade ago before it was as mature as it is now.
Right.
But there were two different experiences. You can check them out for yourself. You have on Mac Rumors, and then you have Quinn that did it as well on YouTube. And they both successfully completed the repair, batteries and displays. And they did so with that equipment. So I guess it works as advertised. It did the thing it was supposed to do.
Is it overkill? Like, if iFixis is selling their kits and it's, you can put in your backpack,
You can what?
If it's so small that you can just like put in your backpack, and people are clearly doing it. Like people are repairing their iPhones.
I used to, when I was doing this around the time that they started. So these manuals and what I fix it and the tools. I mean, I don't actually remember if they were selling their toolkits at the time, but their manuals at least were critical for what I was doing. But again, it wouldn't be feasible for people to purchase a $1,300 kit.
Yeah.
That's a more likely to borrow type of scenario. So they're going to have to find cheaper solutions. And you can see all the cautions going on.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I'm sure there's been a tremendous number of people, even with all of iFixit's help, who have ruined their components and made things worse.
Right. Yeah, okay.
I mean, we're never going to know the exact number of failures.
Because, yeah, people don't say.
iFixit tries to put a difficulty rating on it.
Oh, interesting.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Moderate. So that you can know, like, when you have eight comments, it's so hard to know what you're getting into until you're halfway through it and you're like, oh my God. And you realize the little nuance to it, like, oh, this ribbon cable, is the pin inserted?
Right.
And now you're troubleshooting, and
it's a bit much.
I'm just telling you, for most people with a $1,000 phone, they're like, some people repair their own car.
Yeah, no.
Others don't. Like, it has to be an option, but it just because this right to repair thing exists doesn't mean everybody's an expert repairman. You have the option to become one. But there's still going to be plenty of individuals that are far better than others at doing it. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And chances are, for most people, that's going to be a better use of for most people.
I agree.
Elon Musk is going to take over Twitter CEO role. It's cool, though. I just think as a guy who was into this
Options.
so long ago, it's cool to see Apple forced into having to send these such bizarre gadgets to your like a company like Apple that's so polished and perfect, and you only see it when it's wrapped in clear plastic.
Yeah.
Right? You only get to interact with their products when they're pristine.
That's what I found funny about it. I was like, can you imagine walking out of an Apple store with two giant
hilarious.
case?
I kind of like it just because of how absurd it is.
Yeah, it is really absurd.
Yeah.
And just knowing that it's not new hardware.
Yeah.
It's used, rented.
Many
times.
Rented.
Yeah.
Apple
Rented,
renting things. Like, it's kind of cool to see them have to be real, like be kind of a little bit dirty. Or,
A little scrappy.
Yeah, a little bit. They're so pristine all the time.